Dr. Dave fucking Denton! Love you too.
That's a hell of an introduction. What's his name? This first poem is called One Not About Roses. Not only are there no roses in the projects, there's no gardens either. And then this other short poem is called A Love Poem. After 2 years together, we still make each other come like the first winds of a hurricane. All right, I'm going to read 3 poems here real quick, and then we'll let the real talented people come up. This poem was first published in the Literary Underground's In Conversation page. If you guys haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's called I Took Jackson Pollock to the Psychiatrist. Anybody here ever struggle with trauma and anxiety and mental health issues? This one's for us. I had a psychiatrist appointment, so I got out of bed early and gathered all the worms I could find. There were none. The birds did not sing. It was February. I wore mittens over my ears. I put a bulletproof vest over my heart, wore my seatbelt, and took a Jackson Pollock biography with me to triage. There was a 15-minute wait, and me and Jackson Pollock sat in the corner, getting side-eyed by a fake rainforest plant in a whisper-quiet lobby. When it was my turn to enter the combat zone, I was called by a name that the government gave me, though no one else has ever called me that. My psychiatrist tried to teach me a new way to breathe, but I told him I was having trouble getting air through white-knuckle fist clench. He said he will teach me to live with my trauma. I said, motherfucker, who do you think lies next to me at night keeping me awake? He said, are you really reading that Jackson Pollock, or the giant Jackson Pollock book? I said, no, but they won't give me a machine gun, and I want to be an artist too. He said, we need to expose you to the things you're avoiding. I said, I'm avoiding them because they tried to murder me, and my natural instincts are trying to keep me alive. He asked me how I was getting by. I said, I come from nothing. He said, you must have something. I said, I plant flowers on the roadsides, and we both grow in the dark. He said, Jesus, that's a tough way to get to heaven. And I said that I had hoped he knew an easier route. He said he will teach me to make anxiety my friend, and I laughed and said I'd rather juggle rattlesnakes in hell than hug a man that has stabbed me in the back every time I turned around. He said, give me time, I can't fix you in one appointment. I said I didn't expect to be here this long, and tomorrow is a brown banana. He said, have you tried meditating? I said, yes. I said every morning, like a lobster, trying not to howl in boiling water. He said, don't worry, we can manage this. I said, that's cool. Then drove away, trying to breathe through my eyelids and dodging booby traps most other humans have never had to worry about. Jackson Pollock rode in the 12-gauge shotgun seat, dead as my Section 8 daydreams. When I got home, I took a folded piece of paper out of my back pocket. It sighed as I put it on my desk, and it said that another psychiatrist had lied to my face. There was no we. I wouldn't see him for 4 more weeks. It was just me and all this breathing, screaming, and killer clown circus chaos, all living together, self-taught, and learning to be an artist. I warmed up a can of soup, opened the Jackson Pollock book, and sat unarmed in another knife fight. Paint dripped in my eyes. It was February. There were no birds. Worms can't sing. So I've been traveling, I have been to 41 states to read poetry, and this year, after 12 years of doing that, my first ever poetry collection. Yeah. Roadside Press and Jason Reaper, the editor. But, for years, I didn't think anybody would ever pay to read poems at a factory worker, right? So I figured if I wrote novels that people would buy those, and they have. But now that I'm happy to have a poetry collection. So anyway, I'm gonna read one poem from this. The poetry collection is called Fight Songs for the Underdogs. It's available online or through Gathering Volumes bookstore. This poem is the title poem to my second ever chapbook that came out a few years back. It's called Give Us This Day Our Daily Grind, an Ode to the American Factory Worker. Every day something hurts. Your back, your knees, your feet, your shoulders, your arms, your hands. And on the bad days, it all hurts, and you limp in and out of the factory. It's like that in a lot of factories, not just the one I go to every day. There's an army of American factory workers punching in and out every 8 or 10 or 12 hours. We know our trades are slowly dying off. We're being choked to death by corporate greed. It's cheaper to build our products in Mexico, in Vietnam, in China. There isn't much glamour in a factory. Most of us didn't really plan to make this our careers anyway, but the factory life gets in your blood and you get used to that daily grind, and we don't really know what we would do for work if the factory shut down. And you wouldn't call it a noble profession, but whole cities have been built around us. They say it's the Rust Belt now, but most cities wish they had more of us. Because when our hours are good, the economy is good. And really, we might be the backbone of America. But what do I know? I'm just an old factory worker. Before I read my last poem, I want to say thank you to Michelle for doing this. A huge thank you to Fortune Class Records here in Toledo. And the switchboard bar next door, and Andy had it before Adams last night. Thank all of you guys for coming to Toledo, to my city, and checking out. These are my favorite spots. Culture Class, the switchboard, the ad on Adams have always been good to local artists, including me. So take care of them. Remember to hit the food truck up outside too. And thanks for being here, guys. So this poem, the last one I'm going to read, is my entire statement for the year of 2025. All right? It's called I Am Waiting. For the cash register clerk at the local grocery store to put down her frock and walk through the automatic sliding doors and outside to join a revolution not yet started. For the rural postal carrier that drives a gold Oldsmobile to dump mail sacks from his trunk and drive away to find a revolution not yet started. For the local warehouse workers of a large national home improvement chain to get off their forklift trucks and put down their shipping label guns and grab their still full lunch buckets and head out liberated into a revolution not yet started. For the college students to drop their textbooks and defy the authority that they should naturally question and leave their classrooms to join a revolution not yet started. For the men in their cups down at the local tavern to put their bottles down and arise stumbling from the rickety bar stools, merging into the light of day and into a revolution not yet started. For construction workers to lay down their tools and remove their orange safety vests. For factory workers to shut down their machines and flood the exit gates like children on the last day of school and yip and yell and jubilee, joining a revolution not yet started. For the miners to come forth from the bowels of the earth and leave their hard hats and picks in piles at the mouths of the rich man's caves, and without washing their faces, smile to join a revolution not yet started. For doctors and nurses to remove their stethoscopes and abandon their blood pressure cuffs and throw off their white lab coats and stand up to a healthcare system they know is broken and join a revolution not yet started. I am waiting. I am waiting for line cooks to shut down their grills, for truck drivers to kill their engines, for office workers to unplug their copy machines. I am waiting for the garbage men to leave the garbage to collect itself, for janitors to lay down their brooms and leave their dustpans behind, and for municipal workers to abandon their municipalities and walk away from the bureaucracy to join a revolution not yet started. For clouds to let go their parasails and come crashing down to earth in great kamikaze ponds, and for the trees to shake loose their limbs and roar with the wind, bringing tenor to the song of a revolution not yet started. For mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters to join hands with neighbors near and far. For songwriters to hoist their guitars. For poets to pick up their pens. For painters to lift their brushes. For saxophonists and trumpeters to toot their horns and join a revolution not yet started. I am waiting for one voice to cry into the night, and for one shred of hope, and for the sun to awaken the arsonists, to light the fires that lead the anarchists, to rally the punks and unite the hippies, to invite the queers to bring their rainbows and march in solidarity as one in a revolution not yet started. I am waiting.